Presenting today are Rebecca Scandaliato and Joe Donato. Rebecca joined McCool Risk Solutions in 2007 and has over 25 years of experience working in employee benefits and HR. She has experience working on both the insurance carrier and broker side of the business. Rebecca's goal is to provide innovative benefits, planning, and human resource consulting while maintaining customer service excellence managed from the top level. Her business philosophy is simple: find solutions that lead to successful outcomes for my clients. She is certified in the PPACA and is a member of the National Association of Benefits and Insurance Professionals and SHRM. Joe Donato joined ADP in 2018, solely focusing on PEO services for clients across several industries, from 5 employees to as high as 700 employees. Prior to ADP, he worked at a Fortune 500 enterprise cloud software company, and before that was an early employee at a cloud computing startup, which was recently acquired by IBM. His experience with working with large and small companies, as well as from growing up in a small family business, gave him insight into challenges any business can face when it comes to being an employer. Joe's goal is to understand an individual business's current status, future goals, and challenges to help prospective clients understand whether or not a PEO will provide value. That's it for me. Rebecca, take it away.
Thanks, Kira. Good afternoon, everyone. The purpose of today's webinar is to educate our client base on a PEO arrangement. The buzzword around PEO that you hear all the time is that you gain access to lower healthcare premiums. And while in most cases this holds true, not always, there are many other benefits to joining a PEO. With an ever-changing workplace environment, the only constant is change. And for many or most small and mid-sized businesses, this puts the onus on the employer to make sure that they comply in all aspects of their business. So that includes HR, risk and safety, tax filings, employment litigation, the list goes on. The benefits of a PEO include consolidating your vendors, mitigating risk, integrating systems, and streamlining processes. We have firsthand knowledge of the benefits of this type of relationship as McCool has transitioned to this model. So we hope you find this webinar informative, and we look forward to answering your questions at the conclusion of the presentation. And at this time, I will turn it over to Joe. Joe, I think you might be on mute.
You are correct. Well, thank you,
All
Rebecca.
Right.
And thank you, intro, Kira. I'd like to thank everybody as well for jumping on today. Excited to have the opportunity to talk a little bit about PEO services and the impact that they have on small and medium businesses. So it's always good to start with why. We see a lot of trends and challenges here at ADP. Obviously, as a large organization with several 100,000 clients across payroll, PEO, and services in between the two, we have some good insight into the challenges and really what's going on in a business owner's head each year, and it's constantly changing. We did some surveys this year, and the outlook for mid-year 2024 is probably not too surprising, but we'll dig in with some stats. First and foremost, as it's been for quite some time, labor challenges continue to be at the top of every business owner's mind. Typically, when you think about labor challenges, it's hard to keep employees, it's hard to find the right ones. And then once you get them in the door, what we see in a lot of different industries is challenges around engagement, challenges around being competitive from a pay perspective. But now what we're also seeing is increased demands from the employee, typically in the form of different benefit packages, right? When you go into a Starbucks, when you go into a Target, and you look on Amazon, some of those big Fortune 100 organizations have pretty robust benefit packages that are enticing to any employee. So as a small and medium business owner, this is a huge challenge to be able to keep up and compete in that market. Secondly, and this happens every couple of years, right? Uncertainty around election. More so than ever, probably this year, there's a lot at stake, regardless of which side of the fence you're on. A lot of business owners typically take their foot off the pedal and hold off on some decisions. But as you know, as everybody here knows, things move quickly. You need to make decisions fast, and you need to grow in order to keep up in today's environment. Lastly, and this impacts not only you as a business owner, but you as an individual and all your employees as well. Increasing household debt is a huge challenge, right? So what we're seeing is in the last quarter, Q2 2024, household debt is up by 109 billion with a B. That's typically related back to credit card debt, mortgages, auto loans, all of which have increased pretty significantly over the last couple of years. This has a huge impact on the day-to-day to your employees as well as to you individually. What we see is a stressed out employee is a little less engaged, and when employees are less engaged, they're less productive, and that has an impact on the bottom line. At the end of the day, as a small and medium business owner, the most important indicator of your success is cash flow, right? Cash in and cash out on a daily basis, and all these trends and challenges seem to have an impact on those areas. So anytime you open up a newspaper or turn on the news or log into the internet and go on to check the news for the day, what you're going to see is a lot of different headlines and stories related to HR, right? So whether it is compliance related, whether it is employee litigation, things like overtime pay, paid family leave, discrimination, risk and safety with OSHA. And then what we see recently here in New York, where most of us sit, is a lot of folks leaving the state in order to go to states that are either more employee friendly or less costly. The cost of living is better. All of these are challenges for any business owner to keep up with, where at the end of the day, you're in business to make money. And if you're worried about all these other things, you're looking for help.
Yep, and I think, Joe, just to stop here, I mean, I think many of us in small and mid-sized businesses wear many hats, and I know I felt like this woman before, right? So even things like properly categorizing your exempt and non-exempt employees and making sure that you're paying overtime pay where applicable, or just what you said about employees leaving the specific state in which they work. Well, there's workplace harassment requirements in all different states. And how do I make sure if I'm hiring someone somewhere else, even though they work in New York, that we're complying with all the different state mandates? Having everything under one umbrella really makes it a lot easier from a compliance standpoint.
Absolutely. And we'd love to hear from you all. So if you have the opportunity to jump into the chat, tell us a little bit about if any of these trends stick out to you, if any of these challenges stick out to you. We'd love to hear what's top of mind for each of you. Now, before we jump into what a PEO is, let's take a step back and understand the traditional employer model, right? So just strictly from an HR perspective, right? All these different areas of your business are your responsibility, right? You're the fiduciary, and you have a responsibility to oversee that these things are taken care of, and done so correctly in a timely fashion so that you're not subject to any penalties or fines or disgruntled employees. So whether it's the payroll and SUTA tax management, whether it's recruiting, training, equal employer opportunity compliance, just general HR compliance, all the benefits administration, if you're offering benefits, because if you do, you are the fiduciary for it, Affordable Care Act, retirement, 401k, and finally, workers' comp. All these different areas are headwinds on your business. And really, at the end of the day, they can be drags, right? They're not necessarily revenue driving, but they're things that you have to do in order to keep employees happy and keep them safe and ultimately remain in compliance with both federal and state legislation. Along with this, you have to manage the different vendor relationships involved, right? So, keeping up with different invoices, with different audits, and then having your annual renewals be something that you have to, spend time on as well. So finally, what is a PEO? It's a professional employer organization. It takes into account a business model called co-employment. A PEO will provide integrated human resources services, including payroll, tax filing, benefits, workers' compensation, workplace safety and human resources guidance and administration, all in order to help small and medium businesses manage certain employer responsibilities and risks. So we hear a lot of different misconceptions around this service. So the first one we hear, it's not employee leasing. They're still your employees, and we'll get into that more. And you do not lose or forfeit any current management or supervisory rights over the business. It's still your business to run day to day. Now, at the end of the day, when we talk to business owners, when we go back and look at that traditional business model, all the things that they have to do, 43% of business owners have said that they're overburdened by having to cover all these different roles. I'm sure all of you can relate to that. You wear a lot of different hats. And at the end of the day, you have a family at home and a life outside of your business. Being able to relieve some of that work over to some experts, ADP is the expert in HR and payroll and all these different areas, allows you to not only focus on profitable activities like your clients, but also allows you to, maybe clock out for the end of the day a little bit earlier rather than having to take care of some of this stuff that can stress you out. So here's what it looks like. You still, again, run your business, they're your people. ADP Total Source will handle all those different areas. So for instance, workers' compensation becomes our liability. It enables you to offload the risk of workers' comp and move it over to ADP so that any future claims don't impact your profitability. You report it to us. We handle the administration. If there needs to be an investigation for it, we can help you out with that as well. So some of the benefits.
And Joe, if I could just jump in here, this has been the biggest benefit for me, who also handles HR, is the consolidation of vendors and the integration of systems. This has been the biggest plus because I now have my time management, my onboarding, my payroll, my workers' comp, everything is under one umbrella. So if I onboard a new employee and I miscode them on onboarding, I get a contact from my payroll manager saying that I input a wrong workers' comp code. I mean, it's found at the onset. Same thing with I-9 verification when I'm onboarding. I mean, I can't pass go without making sure that I've crossed every T and dotted every I. And it's nice to have it all in one place because the different departments within Total Source talk to each other. So if I'm having an issue with someone's benefits and the benefits hit their payroll deductions, it's all in one place.
Rebecca. Co-employment relationship, which I like to talk about, is that we have skin in the game, right? So you leave a client-vendor relationship where, for instance, if an I-9 is filled out incorrectly, it might not come to light until it's too late and there's a penalty at stake. So we have skin in the game to make sure that things are done on time and correctly. Basically, at the end of the day, it mitigates risks and allows you to focus on the more important tasks of running a business and becoming more profitable, and allows us to focus on some of the stuff that will slow you down and cause, risks in terms of penalties, compliance, different letters from the state, from federal agencies telling you that you're out of compliance, which can, as you know, be very stressful and cause you to stop focusing on the more important tasks at hand. Allows you to consolidate some vendors too. Streamline operations. Like Rebecca said, we have different teams here that are experts. For instance, we have a team specifically for paid family leave, which is a huge challenge for businesses. So we can provide guidance and expertise and the administration in that specific area, along with many others. Speaking to that shared liability, again, we just have skin in the game with you to run your business. You still run the day-to-day. We do not get involved in the day-to-day. So who you hire, who you fire, what to pay them, who you go into business with, that's all still on you. Where we come into play, what we take over or at least share in responsibility of is compliance, payroll tax administration, benefits administration, ultimately providing you guidance and support for worksite safety. Again, it's our workers' comp policy. We want to make sure things are buttoned up. EPLI coverage. If you go back several years to the 2008 recession, I know that there were some scares of recessions approaching. Maybe some people still feel fearful of it, maybe not so much. Regardless of what your personal view on it is, in 2008, we saw a massive uptick in EPLI claims. And as you can imagine, desperate times call for desperate measures. So when folks are out of work or, getting fired, things like wrongful termination, sexual harassment, those types of claims against businesses shot up 15% in 2008. So having the support of a PEO and a legal defense benefit behind it with us, you have that coverage in case those types of things pop up, which unfortunately we see more and more in the news today. The ones that we do see on the news are some of those big Fortune 100 companies that get hit with the lawsuits. What we don't hear about are the small, medium businesses that get hit with them too, and it can be devastating. Lastly, the technology piece, all in one technology. So the platform, everything from recruitment to payroll to retirement and everything in between, lives in one system, allows you to be more efficient and keep everything stored in one place as well. Why are more businesses choosing a PEO? We certainly saw a large increase in businesses coming to this, or at least evaluating this business model ever since COVID. In 2019, about 12% of small businesses were on a PEO. As of today, it's just shy of 20% of small businesses across the nation are on a PEO. So there's been massive growth, primarily driven by the challenges around compliance and the challenges around labor costs, most specifically health benefits. That's why more people and more businesses are looking to move to this model. There's a 27% ROI of using a PEO. Companies that use a PEO will grow 7 to 9% faster. And there's a 12 to 14% lower turnover rate for companies using PEOs. These are all stats from a national organization called NAPEO. And ultimately, all these different things are helping businesses and helping our clients be more profitable. In terms of scale, there's only 2 private businesses that are larger than ADP Total Source. We currently have, as of today, it's closer to 720,000 individuals co-employed across the country under our model. The only companies that are bigger are Amazon and Walmart. And what makes that significant? Again, it comes back down to buying power. We allow our clients to access the same sort of benefit packages, everything from medical, dental, vision, other ancillaries and pet insurance, you name it. When you see that list of robust benefits that Fortune 100 benefit companies can offer, we give small and medium businesses that same ability without breaking the bank. When you think about some of the things coming up on your end, here's some triggers and reasons why a company would want to reach out to Rebecca and ask, hey, do you think PEO would be the right fit for our business? If you're feeling the impact of the health benefit costs in particular, if you keep your eye on it, you know that Oxford here in New York in the community rated market requested an 18% increase for their upcoming 2025 renewal. It will likely come in a little bit lower. The New York State will approve it at a certain rate, but it goes back to what we've seen year in and year out over the last decade is massive increases in healthcare costs. Over the last 5 or so years, it's been about a 50% total increase in open market benefit costs. So it just continues to get more expensive to be an employer and provide your employees the things that they need to take care of their families at home. Additionally, workers' compensation costs continue to go up. State unemployment continues to tick up as well. Big challenges in order, when you're thinking about how can I be more profitable in this environment, looking to a PEO is one way to help. If you're looking to, strengthen your HR infrastructure, if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to really just supplement what you have in place. So what we hear a lot, and what we've seen particularly since COVID, is folks wanting to work in any state, allowing employees to go, if you're headquartered here in New York and they have the opportunity to go down south and work from there without you needing to become well versed in all the different compliance and payroll taxes for each state. A PEO will provide that infrastructure to allow you to hire anywhere. without having to become experts in all the different compliance and HR requirements for that. Sharing in some of the risks of being an employer, going back to what we talked about workers' comp claims, OSHA requirements, again, because it's our responsibility for workers' comp, we allow the employer to basically sleep well at night, not having to worry about one claim being a detriment to the bottom line for the business, and also keeping up with not just OSHA trainings, but things like sexual harassment trainings, all the things that you're required to do as a business today. Streamlining processes, it's all about being more efficient when you can. This allows you to just focus, a little bit more time on the more important tasks rather than, one by one going through all the different vendors. And it's a scalable platform, allowing you to really plug in any different mechanism that you have to run your business from an HR perspective. So if you have expense management, if you have, all different certified payroll, all these different areas we can plug in to our HCM platform and allow you to have everything in one place, making it easier, single sign-ons, just a little less stress in your day-to-day. And ultimately, for your HR team, offloading some of the non-revenue driving tasks, allow them to focus on some of the things that they're passionate about in HR. So employee engagement, one-on-ones, employee growth, training, rather than things like COBRA administration, paid family leave administration, some of the stuff that could be a bog and really boring to do, but obviously important. We'll take that burden off your desk and allow you and your team to focus on the more strategic aspects of HR. And that's it. Obviously, this is a very high level. We'd love to hear from each of you on some of your questions about the service. We'll open up the floor. Rebecca, do you want to take it from here?
Yep, Kira, do we have any questions from the chat?
Just one at the moment. Someone is asking, can you pick and choose which services you use? What if there's a service that you use that is cheaper than what ADP offers? Can I use, for example, can I use my workman's comp but still be a part of the PEO?
Okay. Great question. Unfortunately, workers' comp does need to be included in this service. There is a New York State statute stating that for anybody in a co-employment relationship with a PEO, the workman's comp would need to be covered by the PEO.
And that said, and that's for workers' comp specific, there are certain services that can be kept outside. So for example, 401k, correct, Joe, that can be kept separate. It does not have to be part of the package.
Absolutely. 401k can be carved out. And then from the different levels of support, what we do in an evaluation, along with Rebecca and her team's help, is we'll dig in and understand what you're trying to achieve in this business model. Some businesses leverage the support model more than others, right? Some need more handholding. Some, are able to do most of the things themselves and just lean on us for some of the administration, right? So what we'll do in an evaluation is really dig in and understand what your needs are, what your challenges are, and provide a proposal that will best fit what you're trying to support. But certain things like 401k can be carved out. Workman's comp cannot.
Okay, thank you very much. And otherwise, you guys did such a good job that, we might have another question. Is there a minimum number of employees?
2 employees, and both would need to be on benefits. Some of the other requirements are that we look for 50% benefit participation. That can be flexible, but that's typically kind of the baseline. But as long as there's 2 full-time employees and both are on benefits, that's what we can support.
Okay, and that's going to do it for the questions then.
Okay, great. So if you want to just put up the next slide, Joe, we'll be in touch with next steps if anyone's interested in obtaining a quote or more information about ADP Total Source. In the interim, if you have any questions, my contact information is listed below. And thank you again for attending.